So Asanwa has been feeding people with dark powers. No wonder families never want to cook in their homes anymore. Chai, Asanwa. But wait, the taste of her food. What kind of dark portions makes food taste so good and delicious like this? She wondered. A long time ago, in the village of Ire, was as quiet and peaceful as ever. It was known as a clean-spirited village. It was a small village where families know themselves and the names of majority of people around them. At moon time, some families sit outside on a mat telling stories, eating and children running and playing around, while some coming back from the farm and market. Until one very fateful day, when Asanwa arrived. She arrived the village of Ire. She was a stranger to everyone, her past a mystery, her destination unknown. All she brought with her was a large, wide pot, a few cooking utensils, and her beautiful face that seemed to hide stories untold. Walking majestically into the village, renting a small hut at the edge of the bustling market square, Asanwa began setting up her yam porridge store. At first, the villagers were indifferent to the newcomer, but something about her felt unusual, like the way she walked with her head bowed low, never making eye contact. Yet, when her pot began to bubble with the smell of rich golden yam porridge, everyone became curious. Soon, the market was alive with chatter about Asanwa's cooking. Her yam porridge was unlike anything they had tasted, sweet, savory, and with the right amount of spices. People gathered from different corners of the village, eager to taste it. Some said it was a secret blend of herbs. Others believed it was the type of yam she used, but nobody could explain why her food was so addictive. Villagers began abandoning their regular meals for bowls of her porridge. And not just the villagers, word spread to the neighboring towns, and soon everyone was speaking of Asanwa's famous dish. But amidst the excitement, something strange was happening. The village dogs began to act oddly. From the very first day Asanwa set foot in Ire, the dogs reacted to her in an unsettled way. At first, a few barks here and there, but soon, every time Asanwa walked through the village with her basket of ingredients, the dogs would bark furiously, growling, and even chase after her. The villagers laughed it off, blaming the smell of the fish and bush meat she used in her cooking. However, some began to wonder. The dogs weren't barking at anyone else, and it didn't matter if her basket was empty. They still barked when she passed by. But the thing that surprised the villagers was how she would walk gracefully in the midst of the barking of the dog, not feeling scared if the dogs might attack her or not. Asanwa always noticed the dog's behavior, but chose to ignore it. She continued to sell her yam porridge, smiling sweetly at her customers. Still, the villagers whispered among themselves. One evening, after a particular loud incident involving the dogs, the village elders gathered under the old bamboo trees to discuss the growing tension in the village. Dogs are not foolish, you know, said Elder Uba. They sense things we humans cannot. We must be conscious Others brushed off his concerns, saying it was nothing more than a coincidence. But some, like Uche, felt a creeping sense of unease, especially from the very beginning she set her eyes on Asanwa. She felt something odd about her. Uche, a young woman who visited Asanwa's store regularly, had a feeling that something was wrong. Her grandmother's words once echoed in her mind. Dogs don't bark like that for no reason. They see what we can't see. Remembering the story her grandmother told her about dogs. So one evening, Uche decided to approach her grandmother again, feeling concerned, her heart heavy with doubt. She explained how dogs barked at Asanwa each time she passes by. This is strange. There must be something the dogs are seeing that an ordinary eyes cannot see, her grandmother explained to her. And her grandmother, an old woman with knowledge of the village traditions and spirituality, said to her, Uche, since you are not comfortable with it, that also shows that something wasn't right about the woman. But at the same time, it isn't right to accuse or suspect people wrongly. I would advise you to visit the village seer, Anyocha, for more clarity, she said. But grandma, don't you think you should go find out yourself? Or better still, come with me, Uche said. Her grandmother smiled. Don't worry, Uche. You will be fine. She's just a seer, so don't be scared, she reassured her. Her grandmother advised her to seek answers from Anyocha, a seer who lived in their home village. Determined to find answers, Uche embarked on a journey to her home village. Anyocha was known for her ability to communicate with the spirits and see beyond the physical world. It was said she had helped many people uncover hidden truths. The journey was long, but Uche was focused to get answers. Upon reaching Anyocha's hut, the old woman welcomed her with knowing eyes. You have come about Asanwa, Anyocha said before Uche could even speak. The dogs know, she said mysteriously. Anyocha explained that the dogs were not reacting to the food, but to the dark presence that followed Asanwa wherever she went. Uche couldn't believe what she had just heard. Anyocha revealed that Asanwa was carrying a secret, a burden from her past that she had not shared with anyone in Ire. The dogs could sense the dark spirit around her. She had made a pact with forces beyond her control. Anyocha said if she does not confess and seek forgiveness, the spirit will continue to torment her and the village will suffer. Uche was very shocked by the revelation, but knew she had to return to Ire with the truth. On her way back home, Uche was talking to herself all through her journey back home. So Asanwa has been feeding people with dark powers. No wonder families never want to cook in their homes anymore. Chai, Asanwa. But wait, the taste of her food. What kind of dark portions makes food taste so good and delicious like this? She wondered. Uche finally returned to the village with a heavy heart. She knew she had to confront Asanwa. But how? What if the woman reacted poorly or worse? If she denied everything? That evening, as the market began to close, Uche approached Asanwa's store. The air was thick with tension and the sound of barking dogs echoed in the distance. Asanwa, Uche said consciously, I need to speak with you. Asanwa looked up, her eyes filled with sadness, as if she already knew what was coming. What do you want to speak to me about, Uche? She asked. Something very important, Uche replied. She stepped out from where she was standing, looking worried and concerned. Please, can you tell me why people are always flocking around in your shop, dying to have the taste of your porridge yam? What type of ingredients do you add to it that make it taste so different from others? Uche asked. Oh, that. Her eyes lit up, thinking that was the actual question Uche had for her. Not knowing that her hidden secret had been revealed, she began. It's a special traditional herbs, an ingredient my grandmother taught me. A secret ingredient that cannot be told, she said. Secret ingredient indeed, Uche said angrily. See, Asanwa, you better start saying the truth. I already know everything. I'm heading right to the elders to expose you. You evil woman. I thought as much. Why would dog be barking at a person like that? Uche said angrily. Asanwa was shocked. She couldn't believe herself or her ears either. She ran and held Uche, begging, Uche, please, don't do this to me. Let me confess to you. Under the dim light of a lighting, Asanwa finally confessed. She had once been a poor yam porridge seller in her home village. No one noticed her and her yam porridge. She hardly sold 2 plates of yam porridge. This continued and she became frustrated about it. Desperate for success, she had met a man who offered her a way to make her porridge irresistible. He gave her a dark recipe, one that required using water from the basin of a corpse. At first, she was horrified by the suggestion, but in her desperation, she followed through. Her business flourished, but she paid a price. The spirits of the dead followed her, and the dogs could sense them around. She confessed everything to Uche, feeling that it would be the end between her and Uche. The next morning, Uche brought Asanwa's confession to the village elders. The elders were overwhelmed by what they heard. Elder Uba, who had been suspicious from the beginning, demanded that Asanwa be confronted publicly. The village town crier announced for the villagers to gather in the village town hall that the council want to have a general meeting, with Asanwa unaware that the gathering was all about her. She was busy preparing the ingredients she would use to cook for the day when she was summoned by the elders that she was needed urgently. She was shocked and wondering what was wrong. Is it that Uche has exposed her secrets to the elders? She thought to herself. Fear gripped her immediately. She finally got to the town hall facing crowds and the village council. A council meeting was called and the entire village gathered in the square to hear the shocking truth. Asanwa stood before them, her head bowed in shame, unable to look into the eyes of the villagers, while the dogs continued to bark relentlessly, focusing towards her direction, making the villagers have more deep thoughts about how evil she might really be. Elder Uba began. Asanwa, we received a very important information about you that made us worried and concerned. Please, can you tell us what type of ingredients you add to your meal that made it attract customers as far as from other neighboring village? He asked. That ingredient must be heaven sent, one elder added. Fear gripped Asanwa. Looking for words on how to start, she stammered, After hearing her confession, the elders debated long into the night. Some argued that she should be forgiven, as she had come forward with the truth. Others believe that the dark spirit following her posed a danger to the village. In the end, the elders decided that Asanwa could no longer stay in Ire village. They believed that as long as she remained, the spirit would bring misfortune to their village and the consequences would be deadly. With heavy hearts, the villagers watched Asanwa packed her belongings and prepared to leave the village of Ire. She had become a beloved figure for her cooking, but now she was a source of fear and suspicion. The once bustling yam porridge store stood empty, and the sweet aroma that had filled the air was gone. As Asanwa walked out of the village, the dogs barked one last time, and then, as if a curse had been lifted, they fell silent and calm. The village returned to its normal routine, but the absence of Asanwa left a void of a lot of villagers that had tasted her yam porridge, wished she never left so that they can continue to enjoy her food, while some never cared at all. The dogs no longer barked and the air felt lighter. People no longer feared walking through the market, and life slowly returned to its usual peaceful place. But the story of Asanwa lingered in the air, serving as a reminder of consequences of desperation and the dark choices one might make. In the months following Asanwa's departure, the village elders reminded the younger generation of the importance of honesty and integrity. They spoke of how the spirits walk among them and how dark deeds, no matter how well hidden, will always come to light. Uche in particular had grown wiser from the experience. She had learned that sometimes people are not what they seem, and the truths can be hidden behind the sweetest of smiles. Years later, the village of Ire still spoke of Asanwa and her famous yam porridge. The market had new sellers and life continued, but Asanwa's story was told to every newcomer. The legend of the woman who made a dark pact for success served as both a warning and a lesson in humility. And so, Ire moved forward with its dogs ever watchful, knowing that sometimes what lies beneath the surface is more important than what appears on the outside. Be mindful of your surroundings and what you eat outside, and what you eat outside of your home or kitchen. Cooking your own food helps you know what you eat. Most especially, make sure you watch and pray before eating. If you have watched this story to this end, thank you so much. Please leave in the comment section what you think about this story. Give this story a thumbs up, subscribe, and share to your friends and loved ones. See you in the next one. Bye.